Hey Flo here, out on a random hike. Hopefully gonna do a Bible reading out here somewhere. Just getting everything set up. I haven't done this in a while. Done a lot of pre-recorded things, I guess, or whatever, just to haven't done as many live streams out and hiking and stuff, but I'm gonna try to do it today. I don't know if it's just I'm not as good as I used to be at finding places with signal or what, but I feel like I can't find places with good enough signal, and also my standards have gone up. Like my minimum desired bit rate is way higher, because I know that if I don't get you know what, actually I need to rethink that. I keep forgetting. I was going to say, if my live streams aren't high enough bit rate, then I can't use the footage to split apart for the Bible readings later, but that's not really accurate, because I'm also recording locally on my phone, but it does limit the bit rate that I can record locally as well. But anyway, like when I'm not live streaming, I can just set the bit rate really high for the local recording and not worry about if it's transmitting or not. But anyway, so I've gone here before in the past. This isn't really even looking familiar to what I was expecting, but I think it's the place that I'm thinking. Yeah, there should be a pretty cool spot over here, assuming that the connection continues, which I have no idea. It's possible when I get over by these rocks it will cut out a little bit or completely. Oof. But there is I don't know what to call this kind of rock formation, but just like a outcrop, like a ridge, like where one side probably sank and the other side lifted or something like that. So there's just kind of a chop in the land. And I came here one time a few years ago and actually live streamed. It was a pretty early IRL, I think, relatively. Back when I had a very different gear setup. Gone through a lot of different gears. I'm actually having flashbacks now. I'm kind of remembering what it was all about. I might, I know there's a really cool spot that I have in mind to do a Bible reading, but I might stop before then. Like this place, this looks kind of, it's not the most amazing place ever, but just having those rocks there is kind of cool. I don't know. Now, maybe I'll just keep going. The other thing I could do is, I got some bushes in my way, gotta go around those. Other thing I could do is just go to the one place that I know is cool, do a reading there, and then come back and hike somewhere else. The problem is I have limited time today. My mom is on her way for a visit, so I don't want to be out super late. Ouch. Oh, pine nails in the face. So if I do like 2 or 3 readings in this one area, then I could get a good amount of readings in before she gets here. Whereas if I try to do one reading here and then hike somewhere else, I might run out of time. I'm not always looking for like insanely scenic spots, just kind of cool, unique spots, really. Like backgrounds that are slightly different than the ones I've already done, essentially. Okay, so we got that ridge back there. I think I haven't actually hit the longer ridge that I was kind of referencing. I think this is it here, maybe. And this is also where if I get down too low underneath these rocks, I might lose the cell signal, because I think it's coming from behind those rocks, so it could block the signal if I get too close up to the rocks. And I don't remember there being so much bushwhacking to deal with here. It's not like that bad, but I don't know, I just pictured kind of walking easily across the landscape, not necessarily dodging 1,000 bushes. But it has been a few years to my memory. It's been a while, so I don't have a distinct memory. Plus, things change every year, like every season. Plants don't always grow back in the same exact configuration. Alright, this is pretty cool. This isn't the spot I had in mind by any means, but it's kind of big boulders, or big wall that I could sit in front of somewhere. Oh yeah, as I get a little bit closer, I notice my bit rate is yellowing. Whatever that means. But yeah, I think this would be kind of a cool spot. Let me see if I can get a better angle of it and hopefully get my phone in the shade. It was only supposed to be like 70 today, which is like room temperature perfect. Feels a little hotter than that to me, but it is basically a perfect weather day though. Like, it's absolutely flawless. We've had a lot of wildfire smoke recently, and so been dealing with that and just not feeling quite as motivated to get out when it's like that. But it's not like that right now. It's very clear. Like, you can see those distant mountains over there. There's no haze at all. It's just pretty pristine. It's awesome. I'm hoping that means we have had some rain, and I don't know if that means that the rain kind of helped them get a handle on the fires, or if we just have a favorable wind. A lot of times it's just the wind is blowing a good direction, so you don't get as much smoke. But anyway, I think I'll try to do a reading here. I want to try to do 2 or 3 readings. Like, if I could get 3 done, I'd feel very satisfied. But I only have a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours to really mess around. I mean, I don't have to be there when my mom gets there, but it's usually a nice thing to do. Okay. She usually says stuff like, oh, don't worry about it and whatever, but it's always nice to try to be there when she gets there if I can. But yeah, if I don't quite make it or something, I don't think it'll be the end of the world. Hoping I can avoid using the umbrella. I don't really like that thing. I think it does actually help, at least to some degree, but it's arguable whether it helps. I haven't really done any kind of scientific testing on it. I have the feeling that it might help, but I'm sure it does, but it's annoying. There's no wind right now, so the umbrella would not be a huge issue, but if there's any kind of breeze, it catches the wind like a sail, and then it's almost worse than not using it, or pretty much is worse. Okay. I might just go climb up there and sit on top just for fun. We'll see. Both spots would be cool, sitting down below, sitting on top. Okay, sort of in the shade to some degree right here, so I probably don't really need the umbrella so much. Okay, let's see. I'm going to try switching to wide angle, see what that looks like. Try to envision what it would look like if I was sitting up there. Okay. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while, so I gotta figure out, like, okay, what phones do I need to do what? Actually, I have to use all 3 phones when I'm doing these Bible readings. Hotspot. Oh. Ah, that red text, I can't see it. I'll see what you wrote in just a second. Maybe. No, I gotta see it now because it might disappear. Oh, I missed it. It disappeared. But I saw you on Twitch, I think. Oops. I haven't got my chat phone up yet. And my phone with the chat on it is kind of behind a tree branch. Okay, just a second though. Almost got it here. I'm always surprised when anybody actually shows up at these streams. It's like a shock. It's like, whoa, what? Somebody's here? I don't know why that's not working. I see you. I can't read your name though. CIG something. Cypress? I don't know. Oh, there it is. KLG opponent. Alright, I finally got my chat phone going. I can see all your messages now. It's dark? You think it's dark? I can see you, yes. I finally have my chat phone on. I had to read it on my screen and I couldn't see it for a minute. But yes, I can see you now. So you read the Bible also, I'm assuming? But yeah, I read it on my stream. I'm trying to go through the whole Bible this year, or I don't know. This year is kind of, I don't know what that means, but I started in July, and I'm about, I don't know, about a third of the way through, something like that. But then I also have a second channel where I take these live streams or nature recordings and split them up into individual like chapter recordings that I edit out all my mistakes because I'm not that good at reading. Still hiking? Yep. I have faith in Jesus. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool, man. Man, woman, I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna try to walk up there or climb up there a little bit. It's not really climbing, but just a little bit of bouldering, and I'll sit up there while doing the reading. But yeah, I have a limited time today, so won't be able to do as much as I'd like, but I probably could just stay out until dark, and I don't think my mom would be that offended, but I would like to go. I would like to see her this evening, even though she's staying for a week, because I think we'll probably have dinner together. So as long as I don't get too late, so late that she's like, oh, I want to go to bed or something, then that wouldn't be cool. But man. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna try to get up on top of this. Oh, let me test this first. Sometimes I forget to do that, and then I'm like, no, I forgot. All right, that's what I'm gonna be reading. What state? I am from Oregon. Are you from the States or somewhere else? Whew. I'm really out of shape this year. I haven't done as much hiking as I would like to. Kentucky, nice. How's it like over there? You have, are you into like hiking or outdoor stuff at all? I live and breathe hiking. If I could figure out a way to just do it 24/7, I would. Well, maybe not 24/7, but pretty much. Okay. Ooh. Got some stuff with pretty nasty thorns on it, so I'll need to get a stick or something. I like going in the hills, but now I do jogging. Cool. I kind of wish I would have stayed in shape for jogging. Not to say that makes it kind of sound like it's hopeless. I can't do anything about it. It's not a high enough priority for me to try to get back into shape for it, but when I was in high school and not long after that, like college age and stuff like that, I used to run quite a bit, but my knees are terrible and my back and stuff, and I find that hiking doesn't bother me at all, but anytime I run, it's like feels like my body's falling apart. It's weird. I don't really see these viney things. I don't know if I've ever seen these before in this area. It's unusual. I don't know what that is, but I don't want it. can't remember which one I was looking at from back there to sit on. I think it was maybe this one here. It's going to be hard to climb with holding all these phones too. But we'll make it happen. I'm not used to hearing that accent. It's new to me. I've never left Kentucky. Well, you're on Twitch though, haven't you heard? I can't be the first live streamer that you've ever talked to. I don't know. I don't really have a strong accent. Sometimes, I guess, when I'm talking, I talk sort of in a, I don't know what it is, like a country accent. I don't know why, but I don't really have that accent. I don't know. A lot of people say that people from the West Coast don't really have a strong accent, but you know, from the perspective of people that have a different accent, I'm sure it sounds different. Okay. Assuming you probably have a southern accent down there. I'm the first streamer you've ever watched? That's crazy, man. That seems super unlikely. Okay. So you just created your Twitch account today, and I'm like the first person you've ever watched? Okay, I made it. Now I just have to hope this whole thing doesn't fall apart, but it looks pretty sturdy. I think I'm fine. Nope, I stream, but I don't watch other people here first. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I used to be a lot more involved in the streaming communities, but I just found it sucks up a lot of your time. It's cool to get involved with other streamers and whatnot. I have a few friends that I made back in COVID years when I first started streaming, 2019, and some of those people I'll drop by their stream occasionally just to say hi, but yeah, it takes a lot of time to just like be constantly watching other streamers, so I don't really do it much either. Okay. All right, I made it. Okay, so how this works is I usually I stop doing it now. I usually do vocal workouts and training. Nice. What is the so are you like a musician, a singer, or something like that? This is a KLG underscore opponent with one, or no, I said opponent. It's opponet. Sorry about that. My reading comprehension is really bad. Opponet. OPONET. KLG underscore OPONET over on Twitch. I have the chat turned off on the screen because when I do the Bible readings, I like to have a clean recording so I can use them later for my my Bible reading channel. But yeah, so how this works is I usually read a chapter at a time, kind of uninterrupted, and then I check chat between chapters. So I'm actually in Judges. Well, I guess it shows there now, but I'm on a reading plan that's kind of chronological. It's not totally, but basically it puts the Old Testament chronologically and the New Testament chronologically, and then it like shuffles them together. So that way you're not just reading the Old Testament for half the year. You get to kind of get a mix of both, which is pretty nice. I really like this reading plan. But anyway, in the Old Testament, we're in Judges 9 through 12, and in the New Testament, Acts chapter 2. I'm starting to try music industry. Nice. That's cool. I messed around with music, but not in order to like try to make it as a career type professional. Massively long time ago, I tried to write music in very old software that it's probably not even still around anymore, but it's kind of before, not necessarily before, but before most everyone is talking about DAWs or DAWs, whatever. There's like I called them mod files, MOD files, but there was S3M, XT, I want to say. I don't know. There's a bunch of different formats, but they're all kind of like video games where you have samples, like audio samples that you just repeat over and over again using a track or whatever. But I messed around with that a long time ago, and then tried to learn piano. Actually, that's how I got my start in live streaming. I tried to teach myself piano just for fun, but didn't last very long. But for a while, I was like, I was the piano streamer, but yeah, I was pretty bad at it. But that's about all I have. And I can play a few chords on guitar. That's about it. But I'm not very musically inclined, to be honest. But I have an appreciation for it. A lot of my earlier friends in the streaming world were musicians because I was doing the piano thing, so they would come by and I would get to know them, and they were also like singers or in a band or whatever. So yeah, a lot of the people that I watched and they watched me were other musicians, but I'm kind of out of that scene these days because I don't really do music anymore. Yeah, I understand you, but I usually take words, what people say a lot to make my lyrics nice. Gotcha. Cool. What style of music do you like to create? Or you do a lot of different stuff, or is there a certain style that is kind of your signature? Or you're just starting and trying to figure it out? Okay, while I'm up here, before I forget, I like to mark all the places that I read. So I have this smart button that, that's what that noise is. It makes little timestamps that I can put on a map later. Trying hip hop out. Yeah, I don't know why. Just when you said take words, what people say in your lyrics, for some reason the first thing that came to mind was like hip hop or rap or whatever you want to call it. That's cool. All right, I am going to start on this reading, and I'll check chat in between chapters. Judges chapter 9. Now Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, I often make mistakes, so I'll just repeat it so I can get a better recording later. Let's just start over. I'm like the other version of Taylor Swift, but I don't make my lyrics about my ex. Nice. I'm actually not into popular music at all. I know who some of the more famous people are just because they're talked about all the time, but I've never listened to Taylor Swift or anybody like that. But it's funny. I didn't realize that she made songs about her ex, but it doesn't surprise me. Sounds like a country music kind of thing to do. Not that she's country music, but all right, let's start over. Judges chapter 9. Now Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, went to his mother's brothers at Shechem and said to them, and to all the clan of his mother, please ask. Wait a minute, I feel like this It's so weird. I feel like I've read this already. I try to mark off the ones that I've read, but man, this sounds familiar. Okay, I must keep going. I don't think I did, but it sounds so familiar. Now Abimelech son of Jerubbaal went to his mother's brothers at Shechem and said to them and to all the clan of his mother, "Please ask all the leaders of Shechem, is it better for you that 70 men, all the sons of Jerubbaal, rule over you, or just one man? Remember that I am your own flesh and blood." And when his mother's brothers spoke all these words about him in the presence of all the leaders of Shechem, their hearts were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, "He is our brother." So they gave him 70 shekels of silver from the temple of Baal-berith, with which Abimelech hired some worthless and reckless men to follow him. He went to his father's house in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, survived because he hid himself. Then all the leaders of Shechem and Beth Millo gathered beside the oak at the pillar in Shechem, and proceeded to make Abimelech their king. When this was reported to Jotham, he climbed to the top of Mount Gerizim, raised his voice, and cried out, "Listen to me, O leaders of Shechem, and may God listen to you. One day the trees set out to anoint a king for themselves. They said to the olive tree, 'Reign over us.' But the olive tree replied, 'Should I stop giving my oil that honors both God and man to hold sway over the trees?' Then the trees said to the fig tree, 'Come and reign over us.' But the fig tree replied, 'Should I stop giving my sweetness and my good fruit to hold sway over the trees?' Then the trees said to the grapevine, 'Come and reign over us.' But the grapevine replied, 'Should I stop giving my wine that cheers both God and man to hold sway over the trees?' Finally all the trees said to the thorn bush, 'Come and reign over us.' But the thorn bush replied, 'If you really are anointing me as king over you, come and find refuge in my shade. But if not, may fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon.' Now if you have acted faithfully and honestly in making Abimelech king, if you have done well by Jerubbaal and his family, and if you have done to him as he deserves, for my father fought for you and risked his life to deliver you from the hand of Midian, but you have risen up against my father's house this day, and killed his 70 sons on a single stone, and you have made Abimelech, the son of his maidservant, king over the leaders of Shechem, because he is your brother. If you have acted faithfully and honestly toward Jerubbaal and his family today, toward Jerubbaal and his house this day, then may you rejoice in Abimelech, and he in you. But if not, may fire come from Abimelech and consume the leaders of Shechem and Beth Millo, and may fire come from the leaders of Shechem and Beth Millo and consume Abimelech." Then Jotham ran away, escaped to Beer, and he lived there for fear of his brother Abimelech. After Abimelech had reigned over Israel for 3 years, God sent a spirit of animosity between Abimelech and the leaders of Shechem, and caused them to treat Abimelech deceitfully, in order that the crime against the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come to justice, and their blood be avenged on their brother Abimelech and on the leaders of Shechem, who had helped him murder his brothers. The leaders of Shechem set up an ambush against Abimelech on the hilltops, and they robbed all who passed by them on the road. So this was reported to Abimelech. Meanwhile, Gaal, son of Ebed, came... I never know how to pronounce these names. Meanwhile, Gaal, son of Ebed, came with his brothers and crossed into Shechem, and the leaders of Shechem put their confidence in him. And after they had gone out into the fields, gathered grapes from their vineyards, and trod in them, they held a festival and went into the house of their God, and as they ate and drank, they cursed Abimelech. Then Gaal, son of Ebed, said, "Who is Abimelech, and who is Shechem, that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal, and is not Zebul his officer? You are to serve the men of Hamor, the father of Shechem. Why should we serve Abimelech? If only this people were under my authority, I would remove Abimelech. I would say to him, muster your army and come out. When Zebul, the governor of the city, heard the words of Gaal, son of Ebed, he burned with anger. So he covertly sent messengers to Abimelech to say, look, Gaal, son of Ebed, and his brothers have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Now then, tonight you and the people with you are to come and lie in wait in the fields. And in the morning at sunrise, get up and advance against the city. When Gaal and his men come out against you, do to them whatever you are able. So Abimelech and all his troops set out by night and lay in wait against Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gaal, son of Ebed, went out and stood at the entrance of the city gate, just as Abimelech and his men came out from their hiding places. When Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, look, people are coming down from the mountains. But Zebul replied, the shadows of the mountains look like men to you. Then Gaal spoke up again. Look, people are coming down from the center of the land, and 1 company is coming by way of the diviner's oak. Where is your gloating now? Zebul replied. You said, who is Abimelech that we should serve him? Are these not the people you ridiculed? Go out now and fight them. So Gaal went out before the leaders of Shechem and fought against Abimelech. But Abimelech pursued him, and Gaal fled before him. And many Shechemites fell wounded all the way to the entrance of the gate. Abimelech stayed in Arumah, and Zebul drove Gaal and his brothers out of Shechem. The next day the people of Shechem went out into the fields, and this was reported to Abimelech. So he took his men, divided them into 3 companies, and lay in wait in the fields. When he saw the people coming out of the city, he rose up against them and attacked them. Then Abimelech and the companies with him rushed forward and took their stand at the entrance of the city gate. The other 2 companies rushed against all who were in the fields and struck them down. And all that day Abimelech fought against the city until he had captured it and killed its people. Then he demolished the city and sowed it with salt. On hearing of this, all the leaders in the tower of Shechem entered the inner chamber of the temple of El-Berith. And when Abimelech was told that all the leaders in the tower of Shechem were gathered there, he and all his men went up to Mount Zalmon. Abimelech took his axe in his hand and cut a branch from the trees, which he lifted to his shoulder, saying to his men, Hurry and do what you have seen me do. So each man also cut his own branch and followed Abimelech. Then they piled the branches against the inner chamber and set it on fire above them, killing everyone in the tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women. Then Abimelech went to Thebez and camped against it and captured it. But there was a strong tower inside the city, and all the men, women, and leaders of the city fled there. They locked themselves in and went up to the roof of the tower. When Abimelech came to attack the tower, he approached its entrance to set it on fire. But a woman dropped an upper millstone on Abimelech's head, crushing his skull. He quickly called his armor-bearer, saying, Draw your sword and kill me, lest they say of me, A woman killed him. So Abimelech's armor-bearer ran his sword through him, and he died. And when the Israelites saw that Abimelech was dead, they all went home. In this way God repaid the wickedness that Abimelech had done to his father in murdering his 70 brothers. And God also brought all the wickedness of the men of Shechem back upon their own heads. So the curse of Jotham, son of Jerubbaal, came upon them. All right, that was an interesting story. Sounds like a good movie plot or something. Feels good watching someone read the Bible for me. Nice. Yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot this year. I've been blessed immensely, and this sounds superstitious, and it doesn't really necessarily have any spiritual significance, but oftentimes I happen to be in a place that kind of connects with the story, and it just makes it come alive for me. Like, it talked about thorn bushes earlier in the chapter, and I was literally just walking through a thorn vine, and, talks about the mountains, and, I don't know, it makes it come alive and feel more relevant, and But not just that, it's like, being out in nature, just seeing God's creation, and doing the Bible readings. It's been a real blessing for me. I've gone through a lot of discouraging time, and I'm still in discouraging time in my life. Life is really difficult, but doing this, trying to be faithful to be in the Word as often as I can and sharing it with others. I mean, people don't really come by my stream that much, but I know there's some lurkers. But either way, it's something I need to do, and if it blesses somebody else, then I'm happy to share it. And so yeah, I've enjoyed it greatly. I almost don't want to ever stop, but I don't know what I'm going to do once I finish. I've even like toyed around with the idea of maybe I won't live stream anymore once I'm done, but I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, I have a second YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey channel where I upload the edited chapters. So I'll take these live streams and like cut them up so that all my stuttering mistakes are cut out, and then all the extra stuff where I'm like kind of exploring and stuff, I cut that out so it's like really concise, like just Bible readings. So each chapter's in like a different spot. So, well, not each one, but like every 2 or 3 chapters is in a different spot. So it's kind of cool to, when I'm done, I'll have like, I guess I think there's about 1,000 and something chapters, 1,030 or 1,080, I don't remember, 1,029. Anyway, I think there's over 1,000 chapters in the Bible, so I'll have like 1,000 videos and, every maybe about 300 different locations or something like that. It'll be kind of a cool project to have on there. And I've already actually been listening. I mean, I don't really like my voice at all. Nobody likes their own voice. But I have been listening to my own readings a little bit. And I think it is kind of more impactful slightly because I remember a little bit of what I was thinking as I read it the first time, or where I was on location. It's just cool to kind of relive the adventures a little bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying doing this. Before I did the Bible reading, I mostly just did hiking streams. I would walk around and stuff wherever I could find a cell signal. And now I've done a lot more of just like sitting in one place because I have to find spots where I can set up the tripod and do the Bible reading. So it's changed my outdoor habits a little bit. Instead of like hiking longer distances, I sit in one place more, but so I don't get as good exercise. But actually just on Friday, I have some of these recordings up on my YouTube channel and Rumble and Odyssey. I went to a really tall mountain, probably a 10 or 11 mile hike, 3,000 plus feet of elevation gain, and I was in really bad shape, so I felt like I barely made it. But so every once in a while I try to do more of a big hike. But like I said, if I could figure out a way to do this all the time, I would do it. Like there's probably, like just as an example, there's probably content creators out there that are more popular and have a bunch of supporters and stuff, Patreon and whatever. Man, if I had that kind of scenario, I would just do this all the time. If you had enough people that, enjoyed what you do. But that's a pipe dream that I don't even dream about anymore. I kind of gave up on that years ago because I've been doing this for 6 years and nothing's ever come of it. So I just gave up on that and just do it for fun. And I still enjoy it, so still do it. Anyway, I don't know why I'm blabbing about that. Let's go on to the next chapter. Hey, chipmunk. Are you looking for food? I don't have any for you, but I like the company. You could come sit on the rock and listen to the Bible. Probably sounds like a big monster growling when I'm talking to him, but anyway. Judges chapter 10. After the time of Abimelech, a man of Issachar, Tola son of Puah, the son of Dodo, rose up to save Israel. He lived in Shamir in the hill country of Ephraim. Tola judged Israel 23 years, and when he died, he was buried in Shamir. Tola was followed by Jair the Gileadite, who judged Israel 22 years. He had 30 sons who rode on 30 donkeys, and they had 30 towns in the land of Gilead, which to this day are called Havoth Jair. When Jair died, he was buried in Kamon. And again the Israelites did evil in the sight of the Lord. They served the Baals, the Ashtoreths, the gods of Aram, Sidon, and Moab, and the gods of the Ammonites and Philistines. Thus they forsook the Lord and did not serve him. So the anger of the Lord burned against Israel, and he sold them into the hands of the Philistines and Ammonites, who that very year harassed and oppressed the Israelites, and did so for 18 years to all the Israelites on the other side of the Jordan in Gilead, the land of the Amorites. The Ammonites also crossed the Jordan to fight against Judah, Benjamin, and the house of Ephraim, and Israel was in deep distress. Then the Israelites cried out to the Lord, saying, "We have sinned against you, for we have indeed forsaken our God and served the Baals." The Lord replied, "When the Egyptians, Amorites, Ammonites, Philistines, Sidonians, Amalekites, and Maonites oppressed you, and you cried out to me, did I not save you from their hands? But you have forsaken me and served other gods, so I will no longer save you. Go and cry out to the gods you have chosen. Let them save you in your time of trouble." "We have sinned," the Israelites said to the Lord. "Deal with us as you see fit, but please deliver us today." So they put away the foreign gods from among them and served the Lord, and he could no longer bear the misery of Israel. Then the Ammonites were called to arms and camped in Gilead, and the Israelites assembled and camped at Mizpah. And the rulers of Gilead said to one another, "Whoever will launch the attack against the Ammonites will be the head of all who live in Gilead." Yeah, I need like a stadium seat for these kind of situations. It so hurts my butt to sit down on these things. This is a pretty long reading too. We got 2 more in Judges and then Acts 2, so I need to change my situation here a bit, or my leg's gonna be in pain. I think I can just sit on the edge like this safely, even though it might look kind of crazy. It's I think it's pretty stable. All right. Judges chapter 11. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor. He was the son of a prostitute, and Gilead was his father. And Gilead's wife bore him 2 sons. I don't know why I read 2 sons there. And Gilead's wife bore him sons who grew up, drove Jephthah out, and said to him, "You shall have no inheritance in our father's house, because you are the son of another woman." So Jephthah fled from his brothers and settled in the land of Tob, where worthless men gathered around him and traveled with him. Sometime later, when the Ammonites fought against Israel and made war with them, the elders of Gilead went to get Jephthah from the land of Tob. "Come," they said, "be our commander, so that we can fight against the Ammonites." Jephthah replied to the elders of Gilead, "Did you not hate me and expel me from my father's house? Why then have you come to me now, when you are in distress?" They answered Jephthah, "This is why we now turn to you, that you may go with us, fight the Ammonites, and become leader over all of us who live in Gilead." But Jephthah asked them, "If you take me back to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them to me, will I really be your leader?" And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "The Lord is our witness, if we do not do as you say." So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him their leader and commander. And Jephthah repeated all his terms in the presence of the Lord at Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites, saying, What do you have against me that you have come to fight against my land?" The king of the Ammonites answered Jephthah's messengers, "When Israel came up out of Egypt, they seized my land from the Arnon to the Jabbok and all the way to the Jordan. Now therefore restore it peaceably." Jephthah again sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites to tell him, "This is what Jephthah says, Israel did not take away the land of Moab or of the Ammonites. But when Israel came up out of Egypt, they traveled through the wilderness to the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, Please let us pass through your land. But the king of Edom would not listen. They also sent messengers to the king of Moab, but he would not consent. So Israel stayed in Kadesh. Then Israel traveled through the wilderness and bypassed the lands of Edom and Moab. They came to the east side of the land of Moab and camped on the other side of the Arnon. But they did not enter the territory of Moab since the Arnon was its border. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who ruled in Heshbon, and said to him, Please let us pass through your land into our own place. But Sihon would not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So he gathered all his people and camped in Jahaz and fought with Israel. Then the Lord, the God of Israel, delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, who defeated them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites who inhabited that country, seizing all the land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. Now since the Lord, the God of Israel, has driven out the Amorites from before his people Israel, should you now possess it? Do you not possess whatever your god Chemosh grants you? So also we possess whatever the Lord our God has granted us. Are you now so much better than Balak son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever contend with Israel or fight against them? For 300 years Israel has lived in Heshbon, Aroer, and their villages, as well as all the cities along the banks of the Arnon. Why did you not take them back during that time? I have not sinned against you, but you have done me wrong by waging war against me. May the Lord, the judge, decide today between the Israelites and the Ammonites." But the king of the Ammonites paid no heed to the message Jephthah sent him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, then through Mizpah of Gilead. And from there he advanced against the Ammonites. Jephthah made this vow to the Lord, If indeed you will deliver the Ammonites into my hand, then whatever comes out the door of my house to greet me on my triumphant return from the Ammonites will belong to the Lord, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering. So Jephthah crossed over to the Ammonites to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hand. With a great blow he devastated 20 cities from Aroer to the vicinity of Minnith, as far as Abel Keramim. So the Ammonites were subdued before the Israelites. And when Jephthah returned home to Mizpah, there was his daughter coming out to meet him with tambourines and dancing. She was his only child. He had no son or daughter besides her. As soon as Jephthah saw her, he tore his clothes and said, "No, not my daughter. You have brought me to my knees. You have brought great misery upon me, for I have given my word to the Lord and cannot take it back." "My father," she replied, "you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me as you have said, for the Lord has avenged you of your enemies, the Ammonites." She also said to her father, "Let me do this one thing. Let me wander for 2 months through the mountains with my friends and mourn my virginity." "Go," he said, and he sent her away for 2 months. So she left with her friends and mourned her virginity upon the mountains. After 2 months she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed, and she had never had relations with a man. So it has become a custom in Israel that each year the young women of Israel go out for 4 days to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite. Oh, what an idiot. Why did he even make that vow to begin with? Oh, so dumb. It's like he had to know that was going to be a person. Like, the thing that comes out of my house when I come home, I will sacrifice to the Lord. Like, what did he think? Like a sheep was going to be at the front door coming out when he got home? Like, he's just dumb. But anyway, I wonder how long that custom stayed in practice. I don't know much about Jewish culture, but I wonder if they still think about that daughter and have that custom, or if that was lost, thousands of years ago. Anyway, it's quite a tragedy. Easily avoided, of course. Honestly, if he would have been a man of worth, I feel like he should have taken the heat for her and just said, "You know what? I made this vow. It was really stupid. Lord, take my life instead of my daughter's. Let her live." Something like that. That would have been a true hero. He's like, "Oh well, I guess my only daughter." He's dumb. Anyway, goes to show you that God uses even dumb people like us who do stupid stuff all the time. But I think when I was younger, I used to read the Old Testament thinking, man, those Israelites were stupid. But these days, I actually see myself in them more often than not, and I just think I'm not really any different than them. I've made so many mistakes all throughout my life, and yet God still has mercy on me and forgives my sins. I don't understand. Sometimes I wonder if he's storing up his wrath against me because it's just like I don't deserve his grace. But I truly believe in what Jesus says, that every sin that we've committed and all of that is nailed to the cross, covered by his blood, and his blood has more power than all the sins combined. But at the same time, like, it doesn't mean that we are free to to just live life in sin every day, doing all the things that we want to do with no regard for God's will. So it grieves me when my flesh takes over and I do something that I know is wrong, and then I look back and I'm just like, oh, stupid, why did I do that? It makes me feel just like the Israelites, because maybe my sins aren't so visible. Like I'm not going out killing 70 brothers or something, but like it doesn't really matter, how severe the sin is. Everyone who sins, everyone sins, by the way, is worthy of punishment, and only the sacrifice of Jesus can cover for our sins. All right, let's finish this last chapter in Judges. Well, it's not the last chapter in Judges, but it's the last one for this reading. This is where I should have been sitting the whole time. Got a backrest. Got a footstool. This is way better. But part of it is just moving. You gotta change positions, or you get something similar to a bed sore when you're when you're sitting on these rocks. It's not so comfy. I should get some like really padded pants or something. They probably make something like that. Something with like a huge pad in the seat so you can just sit anywhere. That'd be awesome, actually. It'd probably look completely stupid, but it would be really handy for these kind of scenarios. Judges chapter 12. Then the men of Ephraim assembled and crossed the Jordan to Zaphon. They said to Jephthah, "Why have you crossed over to fight the Ammonites without calling us to go with you? We will burn your house down with you inside." But Jephthah replied, "My people and I had a serious conflict with the Ammonites, and when I called, you did not save me out of their hands. When I saw that you would not save me, I risked my life and crossed over to the Ammonites, and the Lord delivered them into my hand. Why then have you come today to fight against me?" Jephthah then gathered all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck them down because the Ephraimites had said, "You Gileadites are fugitives in Ephraim, living in the territories of Ephraim and Manasseh." The Gileadites captured the fords of the Jordan leading to Ephraim, and whenever a fugitive from Ephraim would say, "Let me cross over," the Gileadites would ask him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he answered no, they told him, "Please, say Shibboleth." If he said Sibboleth, because he could not pronounce it correctly, they seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan. So at that time, 42,000 Ephraimites were killed. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years, and when he died, he was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. After Jephthah, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons, as well as 30 daughters, whom he gave in marriage to men outside his clan. And for his sons he brought back 30 wives from elsewhere. Ibzan judged Israel 7 years. Then Ibzan died, and he was buried in Bethlehem. After Ibzan, Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died, and he was buried in Aijalon in the land of Zebulun. After Elon, Abdon son of Hillel from Pirathon judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons. He rode on 70 donkeys, and he judged Israel 8 years. Then Abdon son of Hillel from Pirathon died, and he was buried at Pirathon in Ephraim in the hill country of the Amalekites. I never actually remember these other guys very well. Like, I've read Judges a bunch of times, but the ones that always stand out are, I think, the ones that everybody remembers, like Samson. I remember Deborah and Gideon and, some of those, but like all these other little ones, smaller ones with shorter stories, I tend to forget. Like, that's a pretty good story, there's some really good stories that I don't know why they don't make it into Sunday school on the little felt boards. I don't know if they still do that, but it's typically like Samson and maybe Gideon that make the cut. But yeah, I don't really remember some of these other guys very well. I remember like some of the loose details of the stories, but like ask me what their names are, I'm like, I don't know. He's that guy that he made that stupid vow to kill his, anything that came out his front door. That's all I can remember, But yeah, I'm really bad at remembering stuff. I could read this 100 times and still notice things that I probably noticed every time, but it feels new every time because my memory is such terrible trash. My brain has no neuron connections. All right, we just got Acts 2, and then that'll be it. Might only have time for 2 readings today. I want to do the reading in that really cool place that I was referencing earlier. So I'll do it probably at least one more if I don't spend too much time here. Acts chapter 2. When the day of Pentecost came, they were all together in one place. Suddenly, a sound like a mighty rushing wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw tongues like flames of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. Now there were dwelling in Jerusalem God-fearing Jews from every nation under heaven. And when this sound rang out, a crowd came together in bewilderment, because each one heard them speaking in his own language. Astounded and amazed, they asked, "Are not all these men who are speaking Galileans? How is it then that each of us hears them in his own native language? Parthians, Medes, and Elamites, residents of Mesopotamia, Judea and Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia, Egypt, and the parts of Libya near Cyrene, visitors from Rome, both Jews and converts to Judaism, Cretans and Arabs. We hear them declaring the wonders of God in our own tongues." Astounded and perplexed, they asked one another, "What does this mean?" But others mocked them and said, "They are drunk on new wine." Then Peter stood up with the 11, lifted up his voice, and addressed the crowd. "Men of Judea and all who dwell in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and listen carefully to my words. These men are not drunk as you suppose. It is only the 3rd hour of the day. No, this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel. In the last days, God says, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Even on my men servants and maid servants I will pour out my Spirit in those days, and they will prophesy." I think I'm just going to let that little airplane go by because it's just going to keep getting louder and louder. So I think it's coming toward me. Maybe you'll see it back there, I don't know. Oh, it's the helicopter. Probably looking for fires, but I don't really know. Could be a tourist or transport kind of helicopter, but I guess it could be a medical kind too, but my guess, there's so many different, it could be a news helicopter, I don't know, but usually when I see things flying out here like that, it's probably related to checking for fires or something. But anyway, I'm going to reread a few of these verses. But others mocked them and said, "They are drunk on new wine." Then Peter stood up with the 11, lifted up his voice, and addressed the crowd. "Men of Judea and all who dwell in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and listen carefully to my words. These men are not drunk as you suppose. It is only the 3rd hour of the day. No, this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel. In the last days, God declares, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Even on my menservants and maidservants I will pour out my Spirit in those days, and they will prophesy. I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and billows of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and glorious day of the Lord. And everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Men of Israel, listen to this message. Jesus of Nazareth was a man certified by God to you by miracles, wonders, and signs, which God did among you through him, as you yourselves know. He was delivered up by God's set plan and foreknowledge, and you, by the hands of the lawless, put him to death by nailing him to the cross. But God raised him from the dead, releasing him from the agony of death, because it was impossible for him to be held in its clutches. David says about him, I saw the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Therefore my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices. My body also will dwell in hope, because you will not abandon my soul to Hades, nor will you let your Holy One see decay. You have made known to me the paths of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence. Brothers, I can tell you with confidence that the patriarch David died and was buried, and his tomb is with us to this day. But he was a prophet and knew that God had promised him on oath that he would place one of his descendants on his throne. Foreseeing this, David spoke about the resurrection of the Christ, that he was not abandoned to Hades, nor did his body see decay. God has raised this Jesus to life, to which we are all witnesses. Exalted, then, to the right hand of God, he has received from the Father the promised Holy Spirit and has poured out what you now see and hear. For David did not ascend into heaven, but he himself says, The Lord said to my Lord, Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. Therefore let all Israel know with certainty that God has made this Jesus, whom you crucified, both Lord and Christ. When the people heard this, they were cut to the heart and asked Peter and the other apostles, Brothers, what shall we do? Peter replied, Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the forgiveness of your sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. This promise belongs to you and your children, and to all who are far off, to all whom the Lord our God will call to himself. With many other words he testified, and he urged them, Be saved from this corrupt generation. Those who embraced his message were baptized, and about 3,000 were added to the believers that day. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. A sense of awe came over everyone, and the apostles performed many wonders and signs. All the believers were together and had everything in common. Selling their possessions and goods, they shared with anyone who was in need. With one accord they continued to meet daily in the temple courts and to break bread from house to house, sharing their meals with gladness and sincerity of heart, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. That's a great chapter. Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of your sins, and you will receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. This promise belongs to you and your children and to all who are far off, to all whom the Lord our God will call to himself. He's calling everyone. Today we are way far off from what happened then, but he's still calling us to repent and be baptized and believe in Jesus Christ for the forgiveness of our sins. All right, and we will receive the Holy Spirit, and those who have confessed and repented already have the Holy Spirit. He lives in you and gives you power over sin and gives you wisdom, gives you knowledge of the scriptures that you can't have on your own. What once felt like skepticism or unbelief, you read the same words and it comes alive to you and transforms your heart. It's very miraculous. Anyway, it's for anyone who chooses to believe what he says and accepts him on his terms. Anyway, that's it for that reading. I think I'm going to move this rock because it's right on the edge and it could easily fall on my head as I'm dropping down there. So I can put this one away temporarily. Actually, let me mark off those chapters before I forget to do that. Alright, that's one less phone I have to carry while I'm going down this thing. Ugh. There's definitely easier ways to get up here, but I would have had to, go around that way or that way, and it's just faster to go straight up where I did. It's actually relatively easy as far as climbs go, but still have to be quite careful just in case. Oh shoot, I did it again, didn't I? I hate it when I do that. I left my GPS, my Garmin down there, so I'll have to... I'm not going to remember that either. Okay, I'm just going to put both phones away, so there's nobody chatting right now, but if you are here, don't chat for a couple minutes until I get down there, because I won't see your messages. Actually, this dead tree here is quite handy. Helps a lot. Makes it way easier. I could have gone up there too, but this looked quite possible. So. I should have a thing that I do with my smart button that's like fix this spot. Like maybe a six button presses means you accidentally forgot your Garmin, so fix this. Alright, this always takes forever to pack up my stuff. Gotta take the tripod off, or take the phone off the tripod rather. It's one of the more tedious things. Okay. Get chat back on there just for a minute so I can see what's going on. Need an auto-collapsing tripod that just like push a button and it just, man, that's got to be a thing. There probably is something like that, but it's probably more of a gimmick. Like, but if somebody who actually knew engineering really well and was also a outdoor photographer, so they knew what it's like to, you know, you got to have lightweight, sturdy, all those attributes. But if somebody like that who's also an engineer, or maybe an engineer and a person like that got together, they should make something like that. Either it's spring loaded so it kind of pops back into its compact state when you push a button, or I don't think a motorized thing is a good idea. It'd be too heavy, but that would be pretty awesome though. It's like just slowly contracts the, whatever, compacts the legs. That would be awesome. It just folds itself up. I bought a new backpack recently, but I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because it's, I thought in the store it looked bigger. I mean, as not bigger, but it looked around the same size as the one I've been using, so I thought it would be kind of a straight across satisfactory replacement, because this one has a zipper problem. It's kind of falling apart a little bit. But unfortunately, the new one that I bought is not as big as I thought it was. It's not as big as this one, so it's pretty much impossible to fit the tripod and my little camp chair thing and all the other gear that I like to carry with me when I'm doing these live streams. So it's, I don't know. I mean, it's sort of, in a way, I kind of like that it isn't big enough, because it might force me to reevaluate my gear situation, and maybe I'll come up with like a list of things that I can do without, or I don't know, at some point when I get more money, I guess, I would like to look into buying different gear. But I don't know, I don't even know if I'll do live streaming for, like, you know, the rest of my life or just even very much longer. I feel like there's a certain season for it. Like, I don't know that it's even healthy for anyone to try to make a lifelong career out of it. Like, even people who have been doing it since, like, for example, YouTube started, like, I don't know, 17, 18 years ago. Most of those people are gone or burnt out, or they're not successful anymore. So even if you think you're going to do it for a career, I don't really recommend pursuing that too much. I mean, it's cool. It's a good dream to have, but it's like most people don't make it. And then if you do make it, it's short-lived. And so you really have to have a backup plan anyway. And I can't even remember why I'm talking about that, but I don't think it's a very good career path, really. So few people actually succeed in it. But I always, like, when I meet somebody that I really believe in what they're doing and I think they're really talented, I want them to succeed. I know I can't succeed because I don't do anything that's revolutionary or entertaining or degenerate. So I'm not going to make it, but you know, I'd like to see a few other people succeed. Not everyone, though. There's a lot of streamers, I don't really care if they succeed, because I don't feel like they're providing anything of eternal value or even just good influence on young people. So I don't particularly care. And I want them to succeed in their lives and be happy, but I don't necessarily want them to be a bad influence on a bunch of young people. This is pretty cool. Look at the shape of that thing. It's like I don't know what to call that, but it's a bunch of layers that got pushed out into a ball almost. Like they might have been sort of almost flat at one point, and they were so hot and expanded out in the middle, and I don't know, it's a very interesting shape. I'm not a geologist, so don't ask me how that happens. I actually kind of like not necessarily knowing, because I can just look at it and say, wow, that's cool. I don't have to be over analytical. All right, I think I kind of have to go a little far to get to that really cool place, so I don't know for sure that I'll make it that far before I feel like my time is running out. I could sit on top of that rock, but probably won't. Let's keep going. I'm hoping to make it to the spot that I have in mind. Definitely some nice spots here, though. I could come back again sometime and live stream some of these other positions just for more Bible readings. That right there, I like how that looks in the frame, just the layout, the shape of the stuff. But I think what I'm going to do is I'll go to the place that I have in mind, and if I finish a reading there and I feel like I have enough time, I might walk back through this and see if there's another place that I passed up that I want to revisit. I don't know that I'm going to have time for 3 readings, though. Like, technically I always feel like I should, because in reality each reading only takes usually around a half hour, give or take. But because of all the hiking around and the setup, it kind of averages to a lot longer than that. It's probably over an hour per reading when you factor in all the adventure and gear teardown and setup. Such interesting shapes in the rocks, though. Like, it makes me wonder what it was like when some of this was active. Like, obviously, at least some of it is relatively, or at least maybe I shouldn't say obviously. My guess is that some of it is somewhat volcanic. Like, those layers back there sort of reminded me of something that would happen when lava is expanding, but it also could just be, you know, water or something that did that. I don't know. I forgot how much stuff there is here, how many cool rocks and boulders and stuff. It's actually more impressive than I remembered. All I really remember is the one spot that I'm looking for. But there's lots of cool spots to sit. But this one, like, is it's pretty obvious. When you see it, you'll be like, oh, I see what he's talking about. That is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. Just because it looks like a little platform that's made for sitting on. I'm sure humans throughout the centuries have found this spot and used it for something. I'm definitely not the first who's been here. Unfortunately, we don't have much cave art, or I don't know what the other words for it are. That's the only term I can think of, but ancient hand paintings and whatever. I'm unaware of any of those in my area or just anywhere around here. So that either the people that settled here centuries ago didn't do that kind of thing, or maybe the conditions weren't optimal for preserving it over time. I don't know. But there's lots of these walls where you could expect to find some kind of artwork. But yeah, it's probably just the conditions. Even if people did do that years ago, it would probably all wear away just because of the fairly harsh environment that this is. We get really severe winters and pretty hot summers, so it's quite a bit of contrast, and we also get rain and stuff. All that's gotta take a toll on that kind of stuff. This would be a nice spot to do a live stream, a reading, but I want to find my spot. See if it's as cool as I remember, or if I can even find it. If I really, really want to find it, I could find it because it's on, I think I marked it on my map. This spot is also amazing. I actually just remembered this place with that tree, gnarly tree growing out over the top of the rock. That would be a sick spot. So if I get to the place I want to go and there's time left, maybe I'll come back here and sit up there somewhere, because that looks amazing. But I imagine I might run out of time pretty quick here, because my mom will be coming into town not too long. I might stay out an hour or two at the very most after she's here if I feel inclined, but I don't want to be out too late to ruin whatever plans that we might do. I think all we would really do is eat a pizza for dinner or something. Maybe watch a movie. Can't remember the last time I saw my mom. She's been really busy, hardworking. So I don't get to see her as often as I used to. Oh, I didn't remember it being this far, but I don't think I passed it yet. Hopefully the cell signal continues to remain strong. To be honest, since I don't have a family of my own and probably never will, I kind of wish I could just spend more time with my parents, because I don't know how long any of us will be around, myself included. And so it's kind of the best thing that I know about life is to spend it with people that you care about. Other than spiritual things, of course. Doing as much as you can to follow Christ and whatever He calls you to do. But otherwise, Friends and family is what it's all about. I think this is it. Check this out. It's like a perfect little spot to sit up there. Now I have to decide what kind of angle I want to get on it. What would be cool is probably a drone bird's eye view, but I don't got no way to do that. Oh man, I have this having this flashback when I was here. I don't remember exactly what my setup was, but I think I remember struggling with tech. I know it was way before I got my wireless mic. And I just remember dealing with stuff, as always. I'm always having technical difficulties. Anyway, shouldn't be an issue today, hopefully. Never know, but actually that's not a bad angle. I think that'll work right there. It looks like a tiny amphitheater, like other than the danger of the rocks suddenly collapsing, which probably doesn't happen very often, maybe once every couple hundred years. My luck, it'll happen when I'm right there, but other than that concern, it's a perfect place to seek shelter. Like if there was a storm or it was raining, you could get up under there and wait out the storm. But I like that it's perfectly flat. So I can set up my chair. Oh shoot, my battery wasn't plugged in, I think, that whole time, maybe. Alright, give me a few minutes to set up the tripod and get my chair out, and then I'll do another reading over there. Hopefully the chat is still working. Generally, I just accept at this point that when nobody's there, that nobody's actually there, but there are occasional times when my technology fails, and then it's somebody talking to a vacuum. Actually happens more often than I would like. Sorry for the random camera angle. I'm just haphazardly holding my gimbal while I'm trying to set up this tripod. It's not easy to do. Hey Leo, thanks for the lemon. I can't remember. I think they said in the Discord that they brought the lemons back. I wonder if you had anything to do with that. You're like, wait a minute, guys. I'm out if there's no lemons that I can drop in people's chat. And they're like, uh-oh. We hear you, Leo. Bring back the lemons just for you. Okay, so that's pretty stable, actually. I think I'll go with that, as long as my backpack doesn't tip everything over. I could try the wide angle. I don't know. I like the wide angle because it shows more stuff, but it also distorts everything, and the camera isn't quite as good on the wide angle, but it's probably better. So you can see the stuff surrounding. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I like the close in sometimes. It's a better quality camera on that lens. So that's the main camera of my phone. Just, I don't know, it looks better generally. Compositionally, that shadow over here being too close to the edge kind of bothers me. Have to cut that off, and then it'll look a little bit more pleasing to the eye. There we go. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot my chair. I could actually just sit over there, but it's like half the reason I like this place is because it has that perfect platform where I can put my chair, so I gotta get it out, even though it's kind of annoying to do. So this is probably my last live stream for, well, I don't know, maybe not, but most likely my last live stream for about a week, because my mom is going to be in town, and I don't usually live stream when I'm visiting with people, but there's a slight possibility that there'll be a time when she says like, oh, just go out and hike somewhere, I'll just stay here, or something like that. So if that could happen, but I generally like to just hang out with whoever's visiting, because I don't get visitors much. So pretty good chance this will be my last stream for a while. It's part of the reason I wanted to get out here and do a couple Bible readings, because I don't know, I have two sides to me. There's like I'm not a scheduled person at all, like zero schedule at all, no calendar, no nothing. But part of me wants to stay on schedule for the reading, even though I'm quite a bit ahead. I want to I almost have like a double expectation. Like I want to double the speed of the reading. So it's a year. It's supposed to be finished in a year, a calendar year, but I want to finish it like in 6 months. That's kind of my my hope, but I think it's a little bit unrealistic, so it probably won't happen, but I would love it if I could do that. Partly because the later in the year it gets, the harsher the weather gets, and it's going to be more difficult to do this. I don't want to revert at all to doing it inside, which presents some challenge because that either means I won't read as often when the weather sucks, or I just have to like get it done before the weather sucks. Or I could go out even in spite of the weather sucking. But I probably am somewhat limited on that. Because if it's too bad, I could come to a place like this pretty much no matter what the weather is doing, because of how nice of a covering it offers. But this is kind of mind-blowing to me that like I'm sitting basically under a rock that's covering my head. It's literally sticking out farther than where my knees are. If you trace my knees up, the edge of that rock is farther than that. But in spite of that, I have like 5 bars of 4G. It's amazing. So I actually kind of thought the cell tower was back behind me. So either it's going through this rock with no problem, or there's another cell tower over there somewhere. Which, I don't know which of those it is. Probably, if I had to guess, I would say there must be another one over there, because it doesn't seem super likely that it could be that strong going straight through this, but I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff. Oh, I almost forgot. I need to turn the chat off on my phone and get the Bible. That's the main reason, actually, that I need to test that every time, because if I forget to swap the layer visibility, then it just won't show up. All right. Oh, I should have tested it. Just to be thorough, I'm gonna make sure it's working. Okay. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? I mean, I'm not that far away, and arguably the Garmin might not work when I'm under this rock, but it's so annoying. I have a hard time remembering to take that with me. There's a nice natural shelf in there, like a little mini drawer or a closet you could stash your stuff. I don't know how stable this is. I would imagine it's probably been like this for hundreds, possibly thousands of years, but who would know? Unless you're a really knowledgeable geologist, you could probably figure out the date of when this happened. But I see a giant boulder down there. I'm sure that's the one that was like lodged in this spot, and it just somehow cracked out when the ice expanded or something. But man, this would make a nice little cabin shelter, like end of the world dystopia stuff. You just gotta find a place to hide yourself and live off the land, just maybe cut a log that supports underneath these, just to feel a little bit more secure that it's not gonna collapse on you overnight. But yeah, that's what I always think of when I see places like this. I'm like, okay, end of the world happens. Yeah, there's some places I know that I could go hide out in the rocks. I don't think I'd last 2 days out here, to be honest. I'm not a survivalist at all. I actually watch those kind of videos sometimes because I find them interesting, but I've never taken any survival courses or done any challenges of any kind. So I don't think I would last any better than someone who's lived in the city. Because most of my life I lived in the city. All right. Judges chapters 13 to 15 and Acts chapter 3. This is the best spot ever. Actually, there was this period of time, I don't remember how long ago it was, maybe a year or two. I mean, time flies. It might have been 4 years ago, for all I know. I bought a new guitar because some years ago, I think it was probably like maybe over 10 years ago now, I had 2 guitars. I had an electric guitar and just a cheap Yamaha. I think was it Yamaha? Might have been a Fender. Anyway, it was a Dreadnought standard shape acoustic guitar, cheap. I gave those to a little girl, actually the daughter of my pastor at the time. I don't even know if she ever used them or not. It's kind of one of those things like someone young expresses interest in something and who knows if they actually stick with it. But anyway, she expressed interest and I was like, I have a guitar. I don't really use it. So I just gave it to her. But then more recently, a few years ago, I was like, just thinking like, man, I kind of miss having a guitar. I'm not good at playing it, but it's just fun and relaxing to play every once in a while. Like if you have that like sudden urge to play a guitar and you don't have one, then it's like, oh man. But yeah, so I actually bought another cheap guitar. Actually, I have 2 cheap guitars. Nothing special about them. They're like less than $100, I think. But one of them I bought because it was carbon fiber, and I thought, I just had this crazy idea. I could go all over the place. This was before I thought of the idea of reading the Bible outside. I could go all over the place playing my guitar outside and singing, worship songs or something, either on stream or not on stream, but just do that. And the cool benefit of having a carbon fiber one is that it's not so sensitive to the elements. It can get wet theoretically. I don't know how well it's tested, but most of those you can get them wet, or you can they can be in the sunlight, and it's not like wood where it might warp or have heat damage or whatever. Supposedly, I mean, it might still have its own limitations, but anyway, it's a smaller size, and I thought I could do that. And I think I had this place in mind in particular when I was thinking about that, because it's it's so cool. I mean, I wish I could share simultaneously what I see and what you see, because I'm looking out just on the forest with distant hills, rolling hills and trees and bushes and stuff. It's actually very beautiful and relaxing here. And because of the shape of the rock, it's probably really, I mean, I don't know much about acoustics, but it feels like a place that would just have a nice sound to it. More of a sound deadening than like an echo. It's not like it's going to be all bouncing around like a cave. It's more like almost like a studio here, like you could do, other than like the background sounds, which are actually kind of nice. You could just have a nice deadening, clean recording with just a few birds chirping. Anyway, I remember thinking about that a couple years ago, and I don't know if I'm ever going to do that. I have this major problem where I get really excited about something for a while, and then I do it massively, intensely for a short period of time, and then I lose interest in it. Like I've done that so many times in my life. I think it's some kind of ADHD or ADD kind of a thing where I get super passionate about something and I buy like some equipment or some supplies for some new hobby, and then I realize like 2 months later I'm like, this is boring, let's do something else. One recent example of that, I guess, is the drawing thing. I was drawing every day for a while, like sketching in my journal, and once I lost that rhythm, like I didn't do it for a few days, then I was like, oh yeah, I used to draw back then, 3 days ago. And then I just don't do it anymore. And it's because of necessity, like something pulls into my life that is a way higher priority. Like an example would be the shop thing that I've been working on, like this installing the cement boards. That's kind of been taking up a lot of my energy and brain power. So I still think about the drawing thing, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could sit down and draw or something, but then there's these other things that take over. And the other thing I've been working a massive amount on is the Bible reading stuff. Like, it may not seem like it from my live streams, because I don't live stream my working on stuff. I've thought about that. It would be super boring, but I could live stream my experiences with vibe coding, essentially, like writing code using like Google Gemini and other AI tools, because I don't like to code anymore. Could be interesting, but for certain nerdy people, but I don't think I'll live stream it. It's pretty boring. But anyway, I've been spending a lot of time writing different scripts to sort of help automate the video and audio editing for these Bible readings. It's sick. Like last night, I was up all night again, which I pretty much always am, but I was up till like 6 or 7 this morning, so I slept until this afternoon. But I started this new script. I refuse to give up on this idea. I have this idea where I can have AI automatically make a transcript of my readings. So I don't have to do like manual alignment of subtitles. So like, for example, Genesis chapter 1, I want there to be a subtitle that says Genesis chapter 1, and it starts exactly when my voice vibrations start on the waveform, and it ends as soon as I'm done. I want it to be like so perfectly aligned. Or possibly, I would write a script to say, okay, find those alignment points, but then expand like, 50 milliseconds or something. Anyway, the point is I want to like encapsulate each word, or at least each phrase, in time, aligned very accurately, but I don't want to do that manually. That's way too much work. And it has nothing to do with subtitles. I don't care about subtitles, because most platforms, like YouTube as an example, at least, I shouldn't say most, but YouTube already does that automatically on your videos. Like, you don't even ask for it. It just automatically adds subtitles. So there's no reason for me to do it manually. But the reason I want to do it is so that I have those timings for my words. And what I can do is I can take the actual Bible text, which I have a script that outputs any range of passages that I want, and then writes that to a text file, and compares what I say to that text, and finds the places where I say something twice, or I stutter or make a mistake or something, which that would be pretty hard to do. But because the transcription software is, if it's accurate enough, it would actually find those repeated words, and it would be able to like chop those out automatically. But not only that, it would like do a crossfade, and because this is stuff I have to do manually right now, and it takes a long time. That's why I'm so far behind on my uploading these chapter edits. But if I could automate the whole thing with this AI transcription thing, it would save massive time. And in theory, the quality might be better. What I can also do is, I already have a script that does this, but it's not accurate enough. I can say, make every space between phrases like 0.25 seconds, make every space after a comma 0.4 seconds, and make every silent gap or whatever space after a sentence like a full second, which I've kind of discovered that's approximately kind of natural speech patterns. A comma, you usually stop for like not quite half a second, but somewhere in there. And then like after a full sentence, a full stop, you typically stop for a full second or so just to give it some cadence. Anyway, so I wrote this script that can use all of that and automatically stretch the times between the phrases and or cut them out depending on if like they're too long or whatever. And it actually works. The problem is the AI alignment subtitle software that I was using was not accurate enough, so it would chop things up and stretch the words oddly. And but I found this other one last night that is like amazingly accurate. Unfortunately, for this to work, it has to be pretty much 100% accurate, and I don't know if it is quite there yet. I had a script going, doing some tests, and I'm like, that's ridiculously late. I'm going to go to bed. But I'll do some more testing, and if it ends up being good enough, I might actually start using that, and then I can pretty much automate the entire editing process. I have this really cool idea too. Like, instead of doing the actual edit using FFmpeg and hard coding it into physical cuts, I have two options. I can either have it cut the pieces into a temp folder, and then I can run some analysis or spot check them or something. Or what I actually want to do is use something like Shotcut, because Shotcut and maybe some other video editors like Kdenlive and whatever, but Shotcut in particular, it's what I use typically because it's free and open source and on Linux, and it's on every platform actually. It's pretty good for just doing some basic edits. You don't need anything fancy. Anyway, it actually saves all its files in an XML format that can be parsed and written by programs. So in theory, what I could do is, instead of actually doing the hard-coded cuts, I could have it write like an XML file for Shotcut with all the cuts and transitions and crossfades and whatever, and then it would just save that file. I could just open it up in Shotcut and be like, maybe play it through once and say, yeah, great job. Or I can actually edit it before I export to the final file. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff I've been working on, and not quite there yet, but it's getting there. Saves a lot of time. And theoretically, if I release some of these scripts, other people could use them. It's not necessarily that universally practical, other than you could find certain points in your replay, like if you know that you said certain things, or you want to, like you're a live streamer and somebody's talking to you and want to remember where that happened, you could just do a search in the subtitle stuff and maybe do a sort of automated clip of that point or something like that. But anyway, it's not that useful for other people. It's mainly just something that could save a lot of time for my Bible reading project. And I part of the reason I'm spending all this time on these scripts is I want to make sure that it doesn't become burdensome later on. I mean, I'm already a third through, so maybe just I'll sail through it just on sheer inspiration and motivation. But knowing how easily I get discouraged with things, like I was talking about earlier, I want to set myself up for success as much as I can. And I've actually been kind of enjoying the vibe coding thing. I don't have to look at a single line of code. I mean, I do. I actually open the Python scripts and look at them, but I'm not like analyzing them or trying to improve them. I'm just, sometimes I need to find something in there to feed back to the AI to say, here's what you did wrong and fix this or whatever. So it's mostly just for that. So I'm not really learning anything, and I don't really want to learn anything anymore about programming. I just kind of want to get these things working. So it's been kind of fun that I don't have to do any of that code writing. This stuff would be so tedious and so hard to do for me. Like all this like relative time math, I've always struggled with that, like figuring out how those things work. And so using the power of AI to do all that stuff for me, makes it pretty kind of fun. I don't have to break my head to get something done. And I don't, honestly, I don't think I'd be able to do this stuff. I think it would be beyond my capacity as a programmer. I'm just not that good at it. So it's kind of the only way I can make that kind of stuff happen. So anyway, that's the vlog section for the day. I want to get this reading done, and this might be the only one I have time for because it's getting late already. So, but I'm glad I made it here. This was kind of my intended destination. So no regrets if this is the only reading I do. Okay, let's do it. Now, all that talking, I need to take a drink. It's kind of crazy though with AI and vibe coding. Pretty much anybody can be a programmer right now. I think I have an advantage because I was an actual developer for about 15 years, but even if you've never written code in your life, you can just go up to some AI like Gemini or ChatGPT or something like that and say, I want a programmer, I want a script that does this. And that's all you need to say. And it'll come up with something. It may not be like 100% match with what you were thinking, but you could just tell, okay, that's close, but change this thing. And then you continue the conversation until it shapes the code to do what you want. And that whole time, you don't know anything about programming. You're just asking it to do it for you. And that's kind of an interesting time of human history where non-technical people, if they had enough interest in it, they could produce some pretty cool stuff. May not be like as good as what an actual talented, experienced developer could make, but it's still, it's a fun thing to play around with, and you might end up making something pretty amazing. Like as an example, I have this script that I just finished. I had to use Gemini for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then I finally used Grok because it came to this standstill where it couldn't figure out the problem. And anyway, Grok solved it. And it's this really cool thing that what does it do? I forgot. I was talking to my friends about it. I have so many scripts. I have like 60 or 70 now that I've written, I think. Which one is it? I'm distracted because there's a chipmunk down by my tripod too, so I'm kind of just watching that and not completing my sentences. Oh, yeah, it aligns two audio sources using like a scoring system of comparing waveforms and stuff. And like video editors, a lot of the good ones have that, like even Shotcut, which is free and open source. They somewhat recently, maybe a couple years ago, added that feature where you have your video on the timeline, and then you have maybe some externally recorded audio from a different like a microphone or something, and you want to like align them. Normally you'll do like a clap and look for that spot on the timeline and just drag it around, but these scripts do it for you automatically. And Shotcut has one, but last time I used it, it took quite a long time and it wasn't always accurate. But I actually wrote a Python script that does the same thing. And it does it very fast, like within a few seconds actually, and it's incredibly accurate. For a while I was having some weird bugs because of some issue that I just basically Gemini made this arbitrary decision to only search in the first hour of the video for an alignment point. Well, what if you have like a 3-hour long live stream? It's not going to find the alignment point. So I was like, oh, why did you make that stupid decision? And it was like, well, if I loaded the whole thing in memory, then it would, be too much, whatever. So that's the reason it chose to do that. But I was like, no, man, it's not working. You got to look through the whole thing. And I instructed it to make these proxy files, low resolution proxy files, to lower the memory burden and, all these little tricks and stuff. And anyway, finally got it working. And now that it's looking throughout the whole thing, it seems to like find a match every single time. It's really good. Anyway, it's really fun because I'm like, I would never have a clue how to do that if I tried to program that myself. No way. I have no idea. I feel like that's like the stuff of research papers and people that study sound waves and stuff like that. But you just like, hey, AI, make this thing for me. It's like, oh, sure, that's easy. Anyway, it's kind of fun. Fun to be able to do stuff that's way beyond your own capabilities. Okay, let's do this reading. I'm almost sure this will be the last reading for the day because I just spent like an hour talking about random stuff and I need to not stay out here too long. I guess I could text my mom and see where she's at and decide based on that, but I'll probably go home after this one because maybe get a few minutes to clean stuff up before she gets there. I kind of cleaned up a little bit, but not totally. Okay, once again, we are reading Judges chapters 13 to 15 and Acts chapter 3. Judges chapter 13. Again the Israelites did evil in the sight of the Lord, so he delivered them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. Now there was a man from Zorah named Manoah, from the clan of the Danites, whose wife was barren and had no children. The angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, It is true that you are barren and have no children, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. Now please be careful not to drink wine or strong drink, and not to eat anything unclean. For behold, you will conceive and give birth to a son. And no razor shall come over his head, because the boy will be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he will begin the deliverance of Israel from the hand of the Philistines. So the woman went and told her husband, A man of God came to me. His appearance was like the angel of God, exceedingly awesome. I did not ask him where he came from, and he did not tell me his name. But he said to me, Behold, you will conceive and give birth to a son. Now, therefore, do not drink wine or strong drink, and do not eat anything unclean, because the boy will be a Nazarite to God from the womb until the day of his death. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord, Please, O Lord, let the man of God you sent us come to us again to teach us how to raise the boy who is to be born. And God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God returned to the woman as she was sitting in the field, but her husband Manoah was not with her. The woman ran quickly to tell her husband, Behold, the man who came to me the other day has reappeared. So Manoah got up and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he asked, "Are you the man who spoke to my wife?" "I am," he said. Then Manoah asked, When your words come to pass, what will be the boy's rule of life and mission?" So the angel of the Lord answered Manoah, "Your wife is to do everything I told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor drink any wine or strong drink, nor eat anything unclean. She must do everything I have commanded her." "Please stay here," Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "and we will prepare a young goat for you." And the angel of the Lord replied, "Even if I stay, I will not eat your food, but if you prepare a burnt offering, offer it to the Lord." For Manoah did not know that it was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "What is your name, so that we may honor you when your word comes to pass?" "Why do you ask my name?" said the angel of the Lord, "since it is beyond comprehension." Then Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered them on a rock to the Lord. And as Manoah and his wife looked on, the Lord did a marvelous thing. When the flame went up from the altar to the sky, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell face down to the ground. And when the angel of the Lord did not appear again to Manoah and his wife, Manoah realized that it had been the angel of the Lord. "We are going to die," he said to his wife, "for we have seen God." But his wife replied, "If the Lord had intended to kill us, he would not have accepted the burnt offering and the grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all these things or spoken to us this way." So the woman gave birth to a son and named him Samson. The boy grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him at Mahaneh Dan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. Yay, it's Samson. He's got lots of faults, but it's definitely the most exciting Judges story. He's like an actual superhero. Okay. Judges chapter 14. One day Samson went down to Timnah, where he saw a young Philistine woman. So he returned and told his father and mother, "I have seen a daughter of the Philistines in Timnah. Now get her for me as a wife." But his father and mother replied, "Can't you find a young woman among your relatives or among any of our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife?" But Samson told his father, "Get her for me, for she is pleasing to my eyes." Now his father and mother did not know this was from the Lord, who was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines were ruling over Israel. Then Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Suddenly a young lion came roaring at him, and the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as one would tear a young goat. But he did not tell his father or mother what he had done. Then Samson continued on his way down and spoke to the woman, because she was pleasing to his eyes. When Samson returned later to take her, he left the road to see the lion's carcass, and in it was a swarm of bees, along with their honey. So he scooped some honey into his hands and ate it as he went along. And when he returned to his father and mother, he gave some to them, and they ate it. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the lion's carcass. Then his father went to visit the woman, and Samson prepared a feast there, as was customary for the bridegroom. And when the Philistines saw him, they selected 30 men to accompany him. "Let me tell you a riddle," Samson said to them. "If you can solve it for me within the 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. But if you cannot solve it, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes." "Tell us your riddle," they replied. "Let us hear it." So he said to them, "Out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet." For 3 days they were unable to explain the riddle. So on the fourth day they said to Samson's wife, "Entice your husband to explain the riddle to us, or we will burn you and your father's household to death. Did you invite us here to rob us?" Then Samson's wife came to him weeping and said, "You hate me. You do not really love me. You have posed to my people a riddle, but have not explained it to me." "Look," he said, "I have not even explained it to my father or mother, so why should I explain it to you?" She wept the whole 7 days of the feast, and finally on the 7th day, because she had pressed him so much, he told her the answer. And in turn she explained the riddle to her people. Before sunset on the 7th day, the men of the city said to Samson, "What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?" So he said to them, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." Then the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, killed 30 of their men, took their apparel, and gave their clothes to those who had solved the riddle. And burning with anger, Samson returned to his father's house, and his wife was given to one of the men who had accompanied him. I always forget about that story. That for some reason I was thinking this was already Delilah, but I guess he had a first wife, or sort of, not really. Like, they got married, and immediately during the feast of the wedding or whatever, these guys probably messed around with her and like got her to deceive him and all this stuff. And anyway, pretty terrible story. Yeah, it's funny because if you actually you probably don't remember any of this stuff. If you went to Sunday school, you're like, "Oh, Samson, he's the guy that was in between those two pillars and pushed him down and defeated the Philistines. And oh yeah, he had Delilah was his wife, and she deceived him," or whatever. That's kind of all you remember, because they don't usually read all this stuff because it's kind of maybe not kid appropriate, or kids wouldn't understand. All right, let's keep going though. Judges chapter 15. Later on, at the time of the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat and went to visit his wife. I want to go to my wife in her room," he said, but her father would not let him enter. "I was sure that you thoroughly hated her," said her father, "so I gave her to one of the men who accompanied you. Is not her younger sister more beautiful than she? Please take her instead." Samson said to them, "This time I will be blameless in doing harm to the Philistines." Then Samson went out and caught 300 foxes, and he took torches, turned the foxes tail to tail, and fastened a torch between each pair of tails. Then he lit the torches and released the foxes into the standing grain of the Philistines, burning up the piles of grain and the standing grain, as well as the vineyards and olive groves. "Who did this?" the Philistines demanded. "It was Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite," they were told, "for his wife was given to his companion." So the Philistines went up and burned her and her father to death. And Samson told them, "Because you have done this, I will not rest until I have taken vengeance upon you." And he struck them ruthlessly with a great slaughter, and then went down and stayed in the cave at the rock of Etam. Then the Philistines went up, camped in Judah and deployed themselves near the town of Lehi. "Why have you attacked us?" said the men of Judah. The Philistines replied, "We have come to arrest Samson and pay him back for what he has done to us." In response, 3,000 men of Judah went to the cave at the rock of Etam, and they asked Samson, "Do you not realize that the Philistines rule over us? What have you done to us?" "I have done to them what they did to me," he replied. But they said to him, "We have come down to arrest you and hand you over to the Philistines." Samson replied, "Swear to me that you will not kill me yourselves." "No," they answered, "we will not kill you, but we will tie you up securely and hand you over to them." So they bound him with 2 new ropes and led him up from the rock. When Samson arrived in Lehi, the Philistines came out shouting against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. The ropes on his arms became like burnt flax, and the bonds broke loose from his hands. He found the fresh jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand and took it, and struck down 1,000 men. Then Samson said, "With the jawbone of a donkey I have piled them into heaps. With the jawbone of a donkey I have slain 1,000 men." And when Samson had finished speaking, he cast the jawbone from his hand, and he named that place Ramath Lehi. And being very thirsty, Samson cried out to the Lord, "You have accomplished this great deliverance through your servant. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" So God opened up the hollow place in Lehi, and water came out of it. When Samson drank, his strength returned, and he was revived. That is why he named it En-Hakkore, and it remains in Lehi to this day. And Samson judged Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines. All right, we've got quite a bit more Samson to go, but not today. That's the end of the Judges reading, so we just got Acts chapter 3. I'll just sit here and let you hear the birds and the wind for a minute. I've actually thought of bringing my better microphone. I don't actually know that it's necessarily better because it's way older than this wireless one, but I think it's I think it can record far higher fidelity sound. But I actually did a few tests on some of the overdubs that I had to do because my microphone, my wireless mic transmission cut out. I used that one and it sounds generally better, but when I was inspecting the waveforms, there's like a lot of noise, so I don't know what that means. But anyway, I've thought about bringing that and trying to set that up as a backup recording, and then like for the Bible readings that I edit and upload, I could overdub the sound from that device and have it be richer, and it would also like pick up like this ambient background sounds a lot better. But I'm actually pretty pleased with this one too. I don't know if it's picking up all the birds and wind and stuff, but it's generally pretty good. All right, let's finish this and then I'll be on my way for the day, I think. It's too bad I slept in so late because I could have done a lot more readings if I actually got up at a normal time, and it was super nice today, but I'm just happy I got out at all, so it'll get to do both best of both worlds. I get to be out for a little while and then get to see Mom when she gets here probably. So all right, let's finish this. Acts chapter 3. One afternoon, Peter and John were going up to the temple at the hour of prayer, the 9th hour, and a man who was lame from birth was being carried to the temple gate called Beautiful, where he was put every day to beg from those entering the temple courts. When he saw Peter and John about to enter, he asked them for money. Peter looked directly at him, as did John. "Look at us," said Peter. So the man gave them his attention, expecting to receive something from them. But Peter said, "Silver or gold I do not have, but what I have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, get up and walk." Taking him by the right hand, Peter helped him up, and at once the man's feet and ankles were made strong. He sprang to his feet and began to walk. Then he went with them into the temple courts, walking and leaping and praising God. When all the people saw him walking and praising God, they recognized him as the man who used to sit begging at the beautiful gate of the temple, and they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him. While the man clung to Peter and John, all the people were astonished and ran to them in the walkway called Solomon's Colonnade. And when Peter saw this, he addressed the people, "Men of Israel, why are you surprised by this? Why do you stare at us as if by our own power or godliness we have made this man walk? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of our fathers, has glorified his servant Jesus. You handed him over and rejected him before Pilate, even though he had decided to release him. You rejected the holy and righteous one and asked that a murderer be released to you. You killed the author of life, but God raised him from the dead, and we are witnesses of the fact. By faith in the name of Jesus, this man whom you see and know has been made strong. It is Jesus' name and the faith that comes through him that has given him this complete healing in your presence. And now, brothers, I know that you acted in ignorance, as did your leaders. But in this way God has fulfilled what he foretold through all the prophets, saying that his Christ would suffer. Repent then and turn back, so that your sins may be wiped away, that times of refreshing may come from the presence of the Lord, and that he may send Jesus, the Christ, who has been appointed for you. Heaven must take him in until the time comes for the restoration of all things, which God announced long ago through his holy prophets. For Moses said, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your brothers. You must listen to him in everything he tells you. Everyone who does not listen to him will be completely cut off from among his people. Indeed, all the prophets from Samuel on, as many as have spoken, have proclaimed these days. And you are sons of the prophets and of the covenant God made with your fathers when he said to Abraham, 'Through your offspring all the families of the earth will be blessed.' When God raised up his servant, he sent him first to you to bless you by turning each of you from your wicked ways." Oh, I was going to mention something earlier. I forgot. I think it was it Jephthah or Abimelech? I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but one of the guys was like, wow, this guy knows his history. He like recited the whole, all the things that had happened prior to his time, and same here with the apostles, and like Stephen is amazing. We'll read about him in a few chapters, but he like just lays out the entire history of Israel in a short speech. He's just got it on the tip of his tongue. But what we also know, I think they actually did know their history pretty well in Israel, just because that was part of their tradition passed on down through the generations, and they had the scriptures that many of them memorized and all this stuff. But the ability to summarize in that way is a special gift, talent that I don't have. But we also know that in the case of Stephen, which we'll read later, he was filled with the Holy Spirit, and it was God speaking through him beyond what he was capable of. And God promises us that as well. Like if we're brought before authorities and leaders to be persecuted for our faith and stuff like that, we're not supposed to prepare in advance what we should say. Just trust that God will give us the words to speak in those moments. Similar idea. But anyway, that's it for that chapter and that reading. Whoops. I have to remember to fix this recording. I need to. Before I was kind of obsessed with the Bible reading scripts, I was doing a lot of AI scripts regarding GPS tracks and stuff. So I have a ton of track processing scripts. Since GPX is an XML format, it's pretty easy to write scripts to do various things with those, and I have a ton of those. And that whole project was kind of left behind a while ago, and at some point I need to review those scripts and maybe enhance them, because the way I write the scripts using AI has improved quite a bit. The way that I write the prompts and what I'm kind of expecting out of it. I have certain patterns that I use, and I didn't really do that quite as well back in the early days, so some of the scripts are a little bit clunky and could be enhanced quite a bit. So one of these days I'll go back and go through them, because part of the reason I'm so far behind in my GPS track processing is because it's not quite as automated as it could be. And it'll take a little bit of thought to craft those in a way that makes sense. But I should be able to do that. It's actually relatively easy to write those kind of scripts, because it's dealing with data that's fairly easy to process with math and stuff. Like, it wouldn't be easy for me. Like, I wouldn't be able to do the math calculations by hand, but as far as AI's ability to analyze the data and do things with it, it's pretty easy. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm here alone, nobody chatting, but if you were chatting sometime between when Leo gave his lemon earlier and now, I apologize. I have my chat phone right here and nothing's happened, so I don't think there's anybody here, but occasionally it does have a technical difficulty and stops working. And if that happened, I apologize, but I don't think so. I think it was just me, so appreciate you either way, if you were lurking or doing whatever. I don't know if that was a second Leo lemon or that was a glitch. Oh, I think it's probably a glitch, but if that was a second lemon, thanks Leo. Sometimes when I refresh it, like, repeats messages. But anyway, I'm gonna head out for the day, and thanks for joining me. Like I said, it might be a whole week or so before I live stream again, because my mom's gonna be here for a while. There might be a chance when I'm able to get out and do a Bible reading if there's a nice day and things work out. I might try that. I think she's pretty patient and laid back, so there's a chance that we could go like on a walk somewhere and I could just do a reading while she's kind of sitting somewhere or something. So that might happen. Otherwise, it might be a week before I'm back doing stuff on stream again. So I mean, I would like it if somebody read with me. I've thought about inviting people to come out with me and read, verses at a time or something, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I will see you sometime, maybe, Lord willing. But yeah, hopefully I'll finish this project someday. I'm not really anxious to get it over with, though. Like, I kind of like taking my time because it kind of savor it more and let it soak in when you read the Bible. But at the same time, I'm kind of excited to finish it just so I can have the whole Bible in outdoor video form. It's just kind of a cool. I like this project. I'm unaware of anyone else that's done it, especially in live stream form. I haven't live streamed every single recording, but I don't edit them and I don't have a script. I just kind of wing it every time, so it's very, very informal and organic or laid back. So whatever happens. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. So thanks again. I will catch you all later. I guess I have to walk over there and end the stream. I could actually. Why not? Yeah, I have to walk back anyway. I'll keep it going until I get back. It seems like the signal was pretty good on the way out here, so I may as well do that. As long as my battery holds out, there's no reason not to. Ugh. Like I said, I wish I would have got out earlier and could have done more readings out here and spent more time, but got a very late start. But yeah, I actually miss these live streams. Like, I've done a lot of the non-live recordings because I've gone to places that don't have good enough signal, but I still want to capture the moment. But so if you've missed a ton of these, like say you're on any platform besides YouTube, Rumble, or Odyssey, you've missed out a ton of readings because I've done those recorded ones and uploaded them. So if you're interested, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube, Odyssey, or Rumble, whichever platform you like. I don't care which one you go to because I don't make any money from it, to be honest. If you want to avoid ads, watch on Odyssey. Actually, do they have ads? I don't think so. But Rumble and YouTube have ads sometimes. I don't think my videos have ads on YouTube, so you might be okay there. I don't know. They might. I'm not sure. I don't enable them, but they do whatever they want. Can't control what they do. So anyway, that's where you can watch all the replays and stuff if you've missed some of these live streams, because I don't live stream all of them. And I also have a WordHike channel on YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey, where I'm eventually editing all of these chapters, compressing them, and so they'll be like 3 to 5 minutes long for each chapter, sometimes less. And so that's an easy way to just, if you're interested in the Bible readings and seeing the scenery but don't want to listen to all my other jibber jabbering or walking around nature, then that's another option for you. But I am going to take the gimbal off this thing and I'll walk back to where I started. But I need to pack my stuff up first. I'm not really the type who asks for subscribers for the sake of growing my channel. It's more just for convenience for anybody that actually likes what I'm doing. I don't really like my stream to be about me, even though it's always me on the stream. It's more about just sharing a random, boring person's life and more importantly, the scripture stuff. It's not about me. It's just sharing what God has done and beauty of his creation. One of these days I'll open the D-Live chest. Technically it's possible to do from here, but I like to wait till there's at least a couple people watching there, which rarely ever happens anymore. Typically these days I get 0 views on D-Live. They don't like religious stuff there much. Wow, I just heard a big noise. Don't know what that was. Could have been a tree falling, or there could be an animal over there. Don't know. That's the way I was going to go back, is where the direction I heard that sound, so I'm not sure what I'll encounter over there. Might actually go up on top though. It's not as interesting necessarily, but just to go back a slightly different way than I came is always nice. I think there's actually maybe a road up there. I might just walk back on that, even though it's not very exciting. But yeah, I'll probably come back here again, because I just now realized today that it's even more cool than I thought, or than I remembered. So there's a lot more to be seen here, especially for the Bible reading stuff. I can probably find a good dozen places here if I got creative. I can find several spots of interest. Ugh. Oops. Oh, this thing was stupid. There we go. Just thinking about what happened to Soulbound. I don't know, it's kind of funny. I think there were a bunch of, what's the word? I don't know. People just looking for a cheap payout, and nobody cares about the actual website. It's so dead there now. It was pretty fun for a while. Now I don't think they'll survive. Like there's literally like 2 people streaming there now. If there's 2 people live at the same time, that's a lot. Whoa, it's 2 people. And like nobody really watching there anymore. It's kind of funny. But when it first started, everyone was like, "Oh, cool! They're gonna give away free airdrop." If there's really any community to be found on streaming anymore, it's not like it used to be. That's for sure. Like actual community, not just people looking to get something or free handouts, whatever. That's alright. I'm gonna keep doing this no matter what happens to the streaming landscape. The last thing I would want is another pandemic to get everybody closed indoors. That's what actually caused the streaming community to explode back in 2019. I'd rather have no viewers and everybody has better things to do than have that happen again, that's for sure. Okay, I'm almost ready. Got a couple more objects to pick up off the floor, ground, whatever. Turn this one off. Yeah, it won't be very interesting, but I'll just extend the stream long enough to get back up on the road and back to wherever I parked. There's my spot. I don't know if I'll come back here again. Probably not for a Bible reading, so I like to go to different places each time. But I think the exception I would make is if I am still doing this in the winter and everything's like covered with snow and looks different, I would totally do a bunch of the places that have been already just to get the same kind of angle, but with snow on it would be awesome. But I can simulate what I was seeing. It's not really as peaceful or immersive as it could be, but yeah, I was just sitting here looking at the tree and rocks over here with the shelf thing and just looking out there. Camera was sitting over on that rock there. Anyway, it's pretty nice. It's not like the most amazing scene ever. It's just very relaxing. The birds and the trees and the distant hills. Oh. All right, I'm gonna climb up this, I think. Let's see, I think I marked the spot, right? With my smart button? I think so. Let me check. Okay, oh, I don't know if I did. I only have one set of 7, which means I either forgot the first one or I didn't do this one. So I'll just do it again. I was thinking about it when I was talking about the phone stuff early on, and I was talking about the GPS Garmin thing, and I was like, gonna do it, and I forgot. I could probably write a script. I don't know. Some of the scripts are a little bit fuzzy, like hard to think of how to do it, but I could probably write a script that could detect the places that I stop, because if there's a big old spider web or entangled knot on the map, usually that's a place where I stopped and the GPS doesn't know what to do. But it's a little bit hard to pinpoint exactly where I was standing or sitting when it's all jumping around like crazy. So that's why I try to remember to mark it. Oh, this is actually almost like a trail or something. It's probably a logging road that they cut through here as they were cutting down some trees would be my guess, but I don't know. But I know there's an actual road up here somewhere. I think it's actually pretty close by, up this way. Unless I'm dreaming and thinking of a different spot, that could be. Maybe I should, before I commit to just going randomly off into the forest over here, check my map, make sure. I know there's a road up here somewhere oh good, it is there. It's just actually exactly as I remembered it. Okay. I do remember stuff sometimes. Probably won't walk the whole way back, maybe just a couple minutes up here, because it'll just walking along a road, nothing overly interesting. If there was somebody here to talk to, I'd chit chat, but just head back in the stream and go see my mom. She could be here any minute, really. I didn't check my text to see if she gave any updates. Yeah, up from the road, you can see through the trees a little bit better in spots. It's a decent view. It's a nice area. I like it. There's lots of mountains and boulders and stuff to explore here. pretty nice golden hour kind of lighting going on. Let's see, which camera do I have? Okay. Got the right lens on. That place in the middle where I was looking up at those giant boulders with the tree on top, I'll have to make a note just in my mind to come back and do a reading there. It's really cool looking. I think I could do probably 2 or 3 different angles of that same spot, like one looking up at the tree from below, and then one like up in the tree, or like right under it while I'm sitting up there. But yeah, I don't actually have to climb up any of that. It's like this road that I'm on is on the higher side, so I can just walk along this road and go down to the cliff from any position. I'm not much of a rock climber. I enjoy mild challenge without significant risk, but I'm not that daring, and I'm not that accomplished, so I keep it pretty easy. Kind of thing that you just saw me do is I can do more than that. Like, I can definitely climb more challenging stuff than that, but it's not too much different than what I'm maximum of what I'm comfortable with most of the time. But I think I'm gonna end the stream to pack up, and I'll be back pretty soon anyway, so. But thanks for joining me. If there's anybody here, I don't know, or watching this later. I haven't been getting many views on YouTube lately. I never know what that means, because there's a lot of creators out there complaining that the YouTube algorithm has changed, and even their subscribers don't get recommended their channel and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that's probably happening, but I don't really care for my stuff. It's more satisfying when you see that somebody's watching it, I guess, but it's like, if there's no interaction, what difference does it make? It's literally just pixels on a screen in the shape of a different number. It doesn't really change anything. So anyway, I will see you all later. Hopefully you have a good week. And I don't know, maybe I'll be on while my mom's here, maybe not, but if not, it'll be probably at least a week before you see me. So we'll catch you later.